Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack, and today I'm here with Alyssa
Hello again.
for another episode of SoundJack's Rambles. And today we are here to talk about our review of Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Yay!
Yes, it's been 2 months, exactly 2 months, since on the day the podcast will go out, since the games have come out. And I think that's a fair enough time for people to have a chance to play the game, beat the game, and all of that good stuff.
Yep.
But forewarning, this is not actually just going to be a review of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, since we kind of had a huge speculation video on top of that. But since these are also going to be presumably the last games of the 7th generation of Pokemon games, since these are going to be the last, it is confirmed that Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon are the last Pokemon games on the Nintendo 3DS console, and that it's moving to the Switch for 2018 or 2019. That this will also kind of be a bit of a review of Generation 7 as a whole, which is Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and Sun and Moon. For fair warning that there will be a bit more to talk about than you think. But let's just get started on general thoughts of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So, Alyssa, what are your general thoughts of these games?
So Ultra bleh, I can talk. So generally speaking, I think I have two opinions about this. I think for if I enjoyed playing Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I thought they were fun in the same way that I thought, in the same way that I think most Pokemon games are fun. I don't think it's like, if I'm going to make a list of all my favorite Pokemon games, I don't think Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon as a whole, like just those individual games, like ranks like towards the top tier necessarily. But I did enjoy them. I will say though, that if you're looking for well, here, I'll put it this way. I think that Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is more like an expansion pack-ish kind of game. I think it's more than an expansion pack, but I do think that there is a lot similar to Sun and Moon. If you're a Pokemon fan and you're used to getting the third or the sequel games within a generation, and you just do that all the time anyway, I think you probably won't have a problem picking these games up. You'll find it just as rewarding as all the other times. However, if you're looking for a completely new experience with like a lot of new content and, that kind of stuff, I would say you could probably skip this title. However, if you haven't gotten any Gen 7 games at all, I would highly recommend picking up Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon over Sun and Moon, if only because there's just more content in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Or what I would also say is that if you are considering getting the expansion and getting the more content and you already have Sun and Moon, I would get Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon at a reduced price. I wouldn't pick it up for the full $40 that it would cost. Ish, $39.95 I think is generally how much the games have been going for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say get it used or at a reduced price. I would say don't get it at full price. That's not to say that the game's not good. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I only say that just because I know some people might have problems spending, $40 on a game that is very similar to a game they already have.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a use your judgment scenario. If you don't mind paying full price for a sequel game in Pokemon, then you won't have any problems with this game. Mm-hmm. If you do, then yeah, that's what I have to say.
Yeah.
What about you, SoundJack?
I agree with you that if you haven't picked up any Gen 7 games, definitely get Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. They are wonderful. I'm not sure if they're my favorite games, but they are amazing, amazing games, in my opinion. There's only one thing from that they changed from Sun and Moon that I dislike in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that when we get into more spoilery stuff later.
Mm-hmm.
While it is fair to say that, like, and to an extent, it is more than an expansion pack, since there's a fair bit of heavily changed story rather than just expanding on the old one.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Because I could, if the main boss section of this game, as well as the post game, were all post game stuff, then I could completely agree and say this is more of an expansion pack with just some minor changes. However, there are substantial story plot elements that do change that makes it more than expansion pack, though again, I do not necessarily disagree with the way you were thinking of it. It's not purely because it affects the main story. Heavily affects the main story, besides just some minor changes. And if you are used to getting like the Emerald and the Platinum from over a decade ago now,
yeah.
Since we haven't had a kind of like one of these kind of not sequel, but
follow-ups.
Yeah, follow-up third version for 10 years. But if you're used to getting the reboot, the redo, there's certainly more to it than those other games had.
Oh yeah, I would say that it's definitely more like Black 2, White 2 than Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon.
Yes.
I mean, than Platinum or Emerald. I think it has definitely more. I would say if we're putting it on like a scale, I would say probably Black 2, White 2 is at the top for most different from the original games.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair? Because they're like literal sequels.
Yes.
They're not like in an alternate universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I would put Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon under that, and then Platinum, then Emerald.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes.
I think Platinum and Emerald are pretty even on how different they are from their original games.
They're.
It's been a while since I've played Emerald, so like.
Yeah, Crystal.
I might be forgetting it a little bit, but.
Crystal's really under there, and actually, Crystal may be below Yellow, except.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, because I think Yellow had a few more changes. Well, they had Jesse and James.
Isn't Yellow like... No, Yellow's pretty different. Isn't it like supposed to follow the anime more?
Yeah.
Like you get Pikachu as your starter.
Yeah. And that's why Crystal ranks underneath that.
Yeah.
Since the main thing I remember with Crystal is the fact that you encounter Suicune earlier, kind of, and that you can play as a girl.
Yes.
As well as some graphical differences. I think those had the first 3D sprite, the first moving sprites.
Yes, they did.
But point is, yeah.
It is definitely more different than average for a Pokemon third release, but again, I still caution people that if they're expecting a completely new game, they're not going to get that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Consider it a heavily retooled game.
Yeah. Like
a heavily retooled mold for Transformers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a good comparison?
Yeah, I'll take it.
That's a good comparison.
Nothing too extensive, but a fairly nice new mold. Like probably the Megatron to Blitzwing.
Okay.
Yeah. Not like Chrome Dome to Breakaway or anything, but like a solid Megatron to Blitzwing.
Okay, different enough that you get excited for it, but not that different.
Yeah, that you'll still be able to go through the same steps, and the gist of how everything's going to go, and then something a bit different there, and like, oh, yeah, I didn't know that was there.
Okay, cool. Glad we have our metaphor nice and inserted in there.
Yes, our demanded Transformers reference. In our non-Transformer podcast.
Woo!
Yeah. Um, yeah. So that's our general thoughts. I think we're gonna move on to actual spoilery stuff. So you've
Yep.
been warned. This
Yes,
spoiler
you
time.
have.
So let's talk about the new stuff.
All right.
Specifically, oh, well, let's start. Favorite bit of new stuff.
How about you go?
Okay.
Because I went first before.
Um, favorite thing, I would probably say. Well, if I had to pick one solid thing, it in terms of the main story, the post game, I'm going to count that as separate for new stuff. But in terms of the main plot, favorite new bit was how we had to deal with Necrozma.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that nonsense to an extent.
Yep.
Yeah. It was very interesting to get the build up to Necrozma very heavily, fairly decently, fairly decently throughout the main progression, and nothing intrusive, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of moments here and there of like, oh, the Devourer of Light is coming, and we got to do something to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
This lady's playing with insanity, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then Necrozma shows up just as we do the normal plot thing of getting Cosmome to evolve into Solgaleo or Lunala.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of us going through the wormhole to go ahead and try to catch them, the wormhole opens before we have the chance to get to do that, and Lusamine and Guzma just fall out of the wormhole, and we're like, what just happened? You're here, and then oh no, Necrozma, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And then that whole scenario of the legendary of the game fighting and getting captured, and then you having to fight them, and then having to chase them through ultra space. The chase through ultra space, I will say, is a little different, and then being in ultra necropolis is not the most exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh yeah, that's. Well, I think we can talk about that more about things you didn't like too much, or do you want to talk about it now?
I'll finish what I liked about it, and then track back to the not so good bits.
Okay.
And then finishing off with the reveal of Ultra Necrozma.
Oh my god, Ultra Necrozma.
And that other bullcrap of a battle.
Yeah, that's you know what? I'm actually super impressed that I wasn't spoiled on that one. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I would have seen leaks about Ultra Necrozma. No, I didn't even realize it was a form that Necrozma could take once you caught it.
Yes.
Like, once I got Ultra Necrozmium or whatever the
Ultra Necrozmium Z, yeah.
I was like, so I can battle it in that mode? Holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, how rude is that battle?
That battle, well, okay. I think you had from what I heard, I think you had a bit more trouble than I did.
Yeah, I did, certainly. But the only way we both beat it was because of sheer luck.
Yeah. Yes.
What
for me, do you want to, you go. How did you beat it?
For me, I went to the battle. I'm like, okay, Aura Flare, okay. All of my Pokemon have been one-shotted. Excellent. And then I just tried to find a way through. I just tried a couple of times. I was scared I was going to have to go back because I did not want to go through the Ultra Wormhole again because, boy, them not giving you the option to choose between the gyro controls or just the circle pad is really annoying.
Yeah, that's also a thing I have, a gripe I have.
Yeah. But I happened to try a couple of times to see if anything different would happen if I did different moves. and I figured out my Primarina had that it wasn't a guaranteed one hit KO for my Primarina with its prismatic laser.
Right.
So I found that to be the best way to try to beat it was to get. Oh, geez, now I'm starting to forget exactly how I beat it. I'm pretty sure it was just Moonblast it. Yeah, I remember how I did it. Have other Pokemon die to make sure it didn't have Smart Strike. Just to try to spam to get rid of its PP on Smart Strike. And have Primarina come in and just kind of Moonblast it a couple of times.
Nice.
And kill it. Because it is a dragon. It is a dragon.
Is it... What type is it? So Ultra Necrozma Psychic Dragon?
Psychic Dragon, and its moveset was Prismatic Laser, Dragon Pulse, Power Gem, and Smart Strike.
Regular Necrozma is just Psychic, though, right?
Yes, regular Necrozma.
Okay.
And then the respective Solgaleo Lunala and Necrozma forms are the other legendaries types. So Psychic Steel and Psychic Ghost, respectively.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great. I think we both kind of hacked the game, quotes with quotes, in order to beat Ultra Necrozma.
Oh, and of course, also I used the Moonblast, had Primarina die, had something else max revive my Primarina, and then had it Moonblasted again.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I needed to do.
For me, it missed. The only reason why I did this why I won is because it missed me. I think it was using one of its more powerful moves. It missed, and then I had my Rabombi use Stun Spore on it, and then it was paralyzed, and so it was slower and it didn't move occasionally. And then I switched to my Alolan Muck because Muck's only weak to ground and is I think immune even to Psychic type. So basically all of its moves didn't do much aside from Dragon Pulse. And then I just kind of Poison Fanged it to death. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, to death. You don't catch it at that point.
Yeah.
That's how I did it. It was really lucky. I didn't lose too many Pokemon to it. Like I said, it was pure luck, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If it hadn't missed my Rabombi, I probably would have died again.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah. So the main lesson to you all is the only way to beat Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is through luck and hacks.
Or lots and lots and lots and lots of early game grinding, plus lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of Pokemon refresh.
Well, here's the thing with that, though.
Then it might be easier.
Well, here's the thing with that, though. Before you get into the final... Well, no, never mind. I was thinking a different point in time. Like, you're only prepared probably for level 50-some. And then you get to the Ultra Wormhole, and then Ultra Necrozma is level 60, plus with an Omni Aura boost, and it's so freaking busted. As well as its ability giving basically a free black belt, giving extra damage for super effective moves, and all of my Pokemon were weak to all of its moves.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, no, not Mudsdale. Not my Mudsdale. That's the only one, but it still went down in one hit because special defense.
Yep. That's how it'll get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's probably one thing that I wanted to say about it that I thought was the biggest change. Actually, that's a good segue. The biggest difference to me, and I think this is sort of the same for Sun and Moon, but I think with Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon especially, I thought it was probably one of the harder Pokemon games that I've played in a while.
Yes.
And I mean, like, I didn't really spend too much time with, I'll be honest, I didn't spend too much time with Gen 5. I've played both games. But I don't know, did I even beat Black 2 or White 2? I might not have. I might need to do that at some point. Anyway, I didn't spend too much time with them, but I didn't really find Black... I think Getsus fight in white was probably the last time in a Pokemon game that I was like really struggling. Like I died so many times with him, and I only won because I had a Jellicent with Clear Body, and it was able to like lock out one of his Hydreigon's moves. So
yeah.
I found X and Y to be pretty easy. If you got your
EXP share on,
if you put on your EXP share and like leveled up a little bit in Pokemon Me, you could beat that thing.
I didn't even
easily.
use Pokemon Me that much, and I still swept that game like it was the dirty floor.
It was also the first time I beat the Elite Four and Champion in one shot, and I didn't die.
Yeah.
Typically, it takes me a couple times to get through them.
Yeah.
So I found Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, I think, was okay difficulty wise.
Yeah,
I don't think it was too hard.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty even. I think if you could make it easy if you wanted to, but I think it was, it wasn't too hard, but it wasn't too easy. It was just kind of okay difficulty wise.
Yeah, I feel like that one also was because there was a bit less variety in the Pokemon.
Right.
That and I don't think the leveling was certainly different because the leveling was. I think they did play around with it from the original games.
Yeah, there definitely is a different. I would say Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire are definitely different beasts as compared to Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that game, normal difficulty wise.
Yeah.
Sun and Moon I found to be a little bit more difficult, but I wasn't like holy crap like in every battle.
Yeah.
Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, I literally died at almost every single trial at least once.
Yep.
The only two times I didn't was with Rabambi. I beat Rabambi. The last one. And then I think I beat Mimikyu in one go. Mm-hmm. But that was only because of my Mudsdale. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have eaten it. So yeah, I'm glad that you're not and you also felt the same way too, that it was like it was more difficult than you're used to with the Pokemon game.
Yeah, honestly,
at least in recent times. I don't know, maybe it's not as honestly, the older games are more difficult.
Honestly, I've been hearing a lot of people saying Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon are probably the hardest main series Pokemon games. Yeah, no, the difficulty spike in this game is real. Like if you've been I know there was one friend in college that I had who was saying that he was really upset because he thought the Pokemon games were getting too easy. I think if he played these games now, he might have a different opinion. Yeah. Because unless you know what the levels are, or what the level spikes are, that you're prepared for a level spike. Yeah. You're probably gonna eat it, and even if you are prepared, it's still you still would have to grind a lot in order to not die at any of these battles. Yeah, honestly, even in Sun and Moon, I definitely remember there was, I think, getting onto Pony Island, I had my team solidified, and I remember thinking, wow, I'm glad I've got my team set, or else it'd be so hard to get through any part of the game without having to go through a massive grinding montage. And that's especially true in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Sun and Moon, I thought, were like a very healthy challenge. Sun and Moon were certainly a healthy challenge. They were definitely trials that I'm like, oh my god, I've never had this much trouble with a gym leader before. Right. And obviously trials are different, but they're effectively gym challenges, at least in what they represent, I would say. But they were also done in a very nice and smart way, I think. Yeah. Not only just having the one Pokemon there, but them being able to call in another Pokemon, and that Pokemon being able to boost the totem Pokemon's power and just making everything even worse. Yeah. And also people being lucky, depending upon what totem Pokemon was called, because I know for the Lurantis trial, you can get a cast form, which just has a sunny day, flat out, and has good coverage. Yeah. Or you can just get a Trumbeak, and while it'll be annoying, it's not gonna
you over.
Give Lurantis its chlorophyll ability and allow it to one turn Solar Blade you.
Blade?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the support you got this game? I think it was. I don't remember cast form.
It was Kecleon. Kecleon had Sunny Day.
There was a Pokemon.
And
Kecleon, right? That Kecleon.
There was also an option that you could have a Comfey as a partner, and it's one ability. And I think it had Heal Pulse, and its ability was.
Oh my god!
And its ability was Leaf Guard, I think, which gives Grass types extra defense boosts.
Jesus Christ!
Grass type
like
partners
worst.
Extra defense boosts.
Yeah, you can tell that they definitely made it harder, even with those 2 assist possibilities for one trial.
Yes.
You're pretty much done either way, unless you're real buff.
Yeah.
Lurantis gave me tons of trouble when I was doing that trial. All of them did.
Oh yeah, Sun and Moon. That was definitely the hardest trial in my opinion.
Yeah,
that was definitely the one I had the worst experience.
You would think it wouldn't be because
it's grass
type is such a defensively weak type, but nope.
Yeah, and you even get the Firium Zed before that. And it's like, nope, you still gotta at least you still gotta move first before it just one-shots you to oblivion.
Yeah, so definitely notice that change.
Yes.
So, what did you think about the difficulty spike? Did you think it was good? Did you like that, or were you just frustrated?
I like the difference. Because I'm still fairly good at Pokemon.
Yeah,
that I know what to do, and I know how to do it, and how the best way to get around situations. I mean, it's certainly not the most challenging game ever made.
Oh, no.
We're not saying that. It's just the hardest of the Pokemon games. There are definitely, like, Dark Souls. I hear so many people complaining about how hard Dark Souls is. And I'm like, yeah, I never want to play that kind of game.
Dark Souls is really only for people who are, like, super motivated. You know, like, you've got to, like, be good with failure and needing to be persistent about things. Yeah, I don't think Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon's like on anywhere on. I don't even know if it's even makes a top 10 hardest games ever list. Yeah. Probably not. But as far as hardest Pokemon games, it's definitely up there. I would say. And I mean, this is coming from someone who thought that that there was a game that's too easy. So like, and considering that it's other people are saying that too, I think it's a fair judgment call.
Yes.
Is there any other new things that stuck out to you? With the main story, at least, before we get on to, I think, the big elephant in the room that you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Maybe.
The main thing I did, like, there's not, like, a particular... Why did I say main thing? Because it's not particularly a main thing, but the aspect of this I enjoyed is that they changed up more than just the big Ultra Necrozma thing. And all of that. Yes,
yeah, there were a lot of changes. For example, for those of you who played Sun and Moon, if instead of fighting a Wishy-Washy as a totem for the water trial, you fought an Araquanid. Sorry, guys, I really like Araquanid.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Which was really great. And now I have a really huge Araquanid, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There was that. They even something as small as like totem stickers instead of the Zygarde cells was a change that I liked.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I would say that the reward is probably not as interesting as Zygarde's. Because with Zygarde, you got a legendary, and then you could super power charge it.
Yeah.
Right? But as opposed to the totem. I mean, the totem Pokemon, because like I don't think the totem Pokemon are stronger, right?
No. But it's cool that they give you that option, and since they like kind of like changed how Zygarde is about that makes sense. Also,
Yeah.
I like the totem stickers more purely because they're easier to find.
Oh yeah, they are. I think they're also pretty. There are some that are pretty well hidden.
There are some that are pretty well hidden, but there's nothing that's like so obscure and so out of the way that like, why would I ever go here at this particular moment in time?
Right.
Because I'm too short. In my Sun playthrough, I'm too short, and I have absolutely no idea where the other two are. I'm pretty sure I definitely remember I tried to go through all the islands and go through all the spots, and I still couldn't find them.
Oh my god, that's great.
So I must have just been really crappy at looking for tiny glowing sparkles.
Yeah, because the sparkles aren't as visible as something like a bright yellow sticker.
Yeah, because most of the time they're in grassy areas and they're green. They're green.
Right. Yeah. So I definitely think the totem stickers were a much better collectible. They're not as hard. But I mean, like the rest of the game was much more difficult anyway. So you know what, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take something a little easier. It's all good. I don't think either of us really did much with the Alolan Photo Club.
Nope.
I liked the Poke Finder part of Sun and Moon, and I did take photos whenever I was able to as the game progressed. I didn't really put as much effort into it as a lot of people might have or did, but I did that. And the other thing, what did you think of the surfing mini games?
I love them. I never understood why Mantine. I never understood why Mantine were in Sun and Moon, and now they're in this. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just appreciate that's an option.
I think it's a nice way to earn battle points that isn't through the battle tree. So it's a nice different way to do stuff. And I also really like how the move tutor stuff was spread out amongst the islands as opposed to just at the end in the post game.
Yes.
I think that's great because then it allows you to like sort of buff up your Pokemon move wise as you go through the game.
Yep.
Which is awesome. I like that a lot. I was able to get my give my Alolan Monk Ice Punch midway through the game.
Yeah.
Which is great. That helped me a lot along the way. Because I don't know, has there been another game that's done that before, really?
I don't think so. I think most of it has always been like post-game stuff.
I really hope they continue that trend because I think it would be really nice to be able to get like tutor moves throughout the game.
Yes.
Because it's sort of like, and what's nice too is that they saved like it was pretty obvious to me that they saved the stronger moves for the later islands, which makes sense. You know, like they didn't give you like, Giga Drain. Is that even a move tutor move? I don't even know.
Not sure.
But they didn't give you something like super powerful like on a Kala Island or something.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And then you can also use the BP too when you get to the post game anyway. So it works. It works.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. I like that change.
Yeah.
Before we move on, is there any other like new stuff that you liked that you like? Yes. That you wanted to talk about?
Nothing like yes, but I'm still just all over the fact that like even besides just like totem trial changes that they had other minor story points that were different that were not necessarily necessary to the overall story progression, but were very nice to keep it somewhat fresh.
I liked that Mullane was that they changed Elite Four with switched out Hala for Mullane.
Yeah.
I like that. I kind of wish they did that more. I almost wish that they changed out Olivia for Lana. I think Lana is the only trial captain that you didn't actually fight. Right? I think so. Because you fight Kiawe, you fight Ilma, you fight Mallow.
Yeah, well, you fight Mallow. You fight Lana. You don't fight Mallow.
Oh no! In my version, I fought Mallow.
Oh, interesting.
So I guess we should clarify. We have two different versions. I had Ultra Sun. SoundJack had Ultra Moon.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a version difference.
Yeah.
So you only fight one of them, but it depends on which one. So if you have Ultra Sun, you fought Mallow, and if you had Ultra Moon, you fought Lana.
Okay.
So that's something we didn't even know until right now.
Yeah.
Look at that. The game that keeps on giving. Yeah, but I kind of wish that we got maybe instead of Olivia, you fought the trainer or the captain trial you didn't fight.
Yeah.
And put that
Or
in
someone else.
I think that would be cool.
Or someone else.
Yeah. Like, not that I don't like Olivia. I just think it would have been nice to have a different trainer in there.
Yeah.
I think having Acerola in there is still fine, especially since you don't fight her in the last trial.
Yeah.
I also, obviously, Kahili is fine, too.
Yeah.
Since that's the first time you see her, so.
Yeah. Well, no, not in this game.
Oh, you see her before? When? I didn't encounter her at all.
It's not mandatory, but if you get the Flynium Z before Z, oh god, I keep watching a British person's YouTube videos and I call him Zed now because he calls him Zed. Nice. Flynium Z, from 10 Carat Hill, Kahili will just randomly show up and show you how to do the Z move.
Oh, I actually have not picked up Flynium Z. I didn't realize it was in 10 Carat Hill.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, like, I think it might be a little out of the way, which is why I didn't see it initially.
Yeah. That doesn't happen with the Psychnium Z or the Icium Z.
Yeah. No.
You still just magically know how to do those Z moves.
Yeah. Same thing with Poisonium, too.
Oh yeah, she never should that.
And Buginium too.
Yeah, because you get them from the Team Skull people, but they never actually show you how to do the Z moves.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize about those.
Yeah. So I think the last big one we should probably talk about is Ultra Space, right?
Yes.
So what do you? I like the fact that it's there.
Yes.
Basically, for those of you who haven't played the game, it's basically the flying around Mirage Islands mechanic from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, only a little stripped down. In the sense that you get to visit like isolated mystery places and catch Pokemon that you normally can't catch in the game.
Yeah.
And you also get to catch all the legendary all the legendary Pokemon aside from version exclusives. Mythical Pokemon obviously don't count. Yeah. And you can and this is also where you catch all of the Ultra Beasts.
Yes.
Around Alola.
You also get to catch a few more non Alola native Pokemon.
Yes. I like the concept. I think the biggest complaint that I have is that you can't stay in Ultra Space. You have to. So once you go into an Ultra Wormhole and you fight whatever's there, you have to leave and then go back, which just annoys me. Like, I don't know. I understand why they have to do that because the rarity of the Pokemon that you can encounter is based on how far into the wormhole you go. But, and so they have to reset it. But I still feel like they could, like, make it so that you just are automatically, like, in the wormhole instead of having to be back outside. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a big gripe, but it's just something that like annoys me a little bit.
Two minor things with the Ultra Wormhole are there is an option for you to change it from being gyroscoped to circle pad controls.
Oh boy, yeah.
But you have to go to a special place to do that. And you can't make that choice when you first have to go in the Ultra Wormhole, where you have to go to Ultra Necropolis. Mm-hmm. And the second thing is it's just the what am I trying to say?
I wish I knew too.
The spacing feels weird.
Do you mean like perspective?
Yes, there's the word, perspective. The perspective is weird in the Ultra Wormholes.
It is. I think that's probably because the wormhole itself has like you see the tunnel, but there's also like stuff beyond it, and so it's like hard to know where you are in
I
relation
also
to things.
I also think it's because of how the camera's positioned. Because it's a fairly circular thing, but it's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to tell exactly where you are within the circle, and I think it's because the camera angle is a little bit above the player.
Oh,
A little bit.
yeah.
It's behind and a little bit above, so it feels like there's less space above than there is below.
That makes sense.
So and especially it's really hard to try to figure out where the curves happen because of that. Like, of course, you're still seeing the other outer space and other that, and there's nothing like that's going to keep you trapped in that circle in terms of the visual, but it's just more off than it should be, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also that becomes a problem when there's like curves in the tunnel too.
Yeah.
I also found the gyroscope controls to be really bad. Like, I don't know about how you found them, but I had a lot of trouble tilting it. And like most of the time I've played other 3DS games that have gyroscope controls, and I found them to be fine. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a notable one. I use the gyroscope controls just because it helps me aim a bit more precisely when I'm like shooting arrows. And like I'll use like the circle pad to like get in the general area, and then the gyroscope to like pinpoint where I'm going.
Yeah.
But I find the gyroscope controls to be really helpful on the 3DS for like minimal movements, like if you're trying to get something really precise. But in this case, when you're trying to like do dramatic movements, I find it to be really off. So
yes,
I'm really glad they gave you the option to change the circle pad. I just wish you could do that sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But let's move on to talking about the post game.
Yay!
With
post-game stuff.
With the Rainbow Rocket.
Oh my goodness. Let me just tell you, I really liked this post game stuff. I know. I mean, obviously, I think because Sun and Moon didn't have really anything as far as post game. Mostly, like it really was just the battle tree and
the catching the Ultra Beasts.
That was basically it. And I mean, like, while it was fun to catch the Ultra Beasts, it wasn't that much of a challenge.
Yeah.
Really. This post game is a challenge.
Yes.
Basically, for those of you who haven't played the game, or if you've only beaten it or whatever, or a refresher, it's basically all of the previous bosses of all the other games, which is Giovanni, Archie and Maxie, Cyrus, Gethsis, and Lysander. I think those are all of them, right?
Yes.
Basically, they all are in a castle. They basically take over Aether Paradise, and you basically have to do a boss rush with all of them.
Yep.
That's basically what it functions as, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really great change of pace. I don't think has there been a boss rush like this before in a Pokemon game?
Nope.
Yeah, I thought it was really great.
Besides the Elite Four, no.
I mean, yeah, the Elite Four is a boss rush, but this was like a different kind of boss rush. Like they even had a healing station in between each boss.
Yeah. And also,
and I think it was really great to see all the old villains again. That was fun.
Yep. Yep.
Although I hope I'm not the only one who feels really awkward looking at the old designs for Archie and Maxie.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know about you. I think I could prefer the newer ones.
Yes.
I think the newer ones are a bit more interesting.
Yes.
The older ones kind of look a little. They still have like a little bit of that early 2000s on them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
I mean, it was not. I think it's great that they reuse those old designs.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since now and it made sense plot-wise because Archie and Maxie used normal Kyogre, normal Groudon, as opposed to primal Kyogre, primal Groudon. Thank God.
Extreme rude, extreme levels of rudeness.
Yeah. So that was really fun. I also, I don't know. I don't really have too many complaints about the post game. In that regard, I think it's also really interesting because I think they're almost setting up for Rainbow Rocket to come back in another game. Because,
like, say the one that's going to be coming out on the Switch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. Because after you beat Giovanni, he shows up again and is like, all right, now I got to find another universe to infect. And so, to me, I feel like they're establishing that he might come back.
Yes.
Which would be really interesting. I'd be interested in a dimension hopping Giovanni being the next big bad. Certainly would be a little bit more threatening than normal Giovanni.
Yes. At
least in far as his reach is like, because really he's a mafia boss.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'd be cool for him to be a dimension hopping mafia boss. That's a little more threatening.
Yeah.
Especially when you have next to him as his underlings, no less, guys who have caused environmental catastrophe. You've got a guy who single-handedly took away everyone's Pokemon, just through not like liberating them. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe Getsis is a little on par with Giovanni, but
yeah.
But then you also have dude who fired off a death weapon, killed everyone, and then you have Cyrus who created a new universe.
Yeah. Well, maybe
they implied
thing.
that instead of him creating a new universe, he just hopped into this one, and that was what happened.
Well, here's the thing that makes it not as necessarily completely catastrophic, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that for everyone except probably Getsis and Giovanni, all of the bosses are taken right before their immediate victory.
Oh, I see.
Because the death weapon in Lysander's case was about to strike, and he disappeared.
Right. Okay, that's
so
fair.
It's very small chance some crazy legendary like Mewtwo or something just comes in and like, nope, we're not dealing with this crap. Unlikely, but potentially. Or like Arceus comes in and intervenes in Cyrus's case and is like, no, get out. The ones with Archie and Maxie though are a little more. Certainly something bad happened, but certainly something reversible happened. Because they both were respectively sucked into the sea and then and then Maxie just got like a fissure open, the ground opened beneath him, and then he just ended up in that world, so.
Okay, well.
Either that or they were all screwed anyway, because either that.
I guess while I was reading their dialogue, so.
Yeah.
I guess that makes it a little less like they absolutely destroyed everything, and more they just were like within arm's reach.
It's still entirely possible that everything was still destroyed, but there's enough wiggle room that if you want to say, hey, they didn't actually all die in these other universes, then you can be like, okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I still think Team Flare is probably the team I don't like the most.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess firing off a death weapon is pretty threatening, but I don't know what it is about Team Flare. I can't get behind them in the way that I can the other teams for whatever reason.
Yes.
But that's a story for another day, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about the post game. I think it was good. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, having Guzman on your side, awesome touch.
Yeah, very nice. Also, very, very minor touch that I really liked. All the Team Rainbow Rocket runs paid out 1,984 Poké Dollars. Probably as a sly reference to the novel 1984 with Big Brother.
Yep.
And the dystopian future.
Yep. That I enjoyed too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I guess the other thing I enjoyed too is that there really wasn't a bad guy amongst, like, Team Skull, the Aether Foundation, and the Ultra Recon Squad didn't really end up being the big bad you thought.
Faba.
I mean, like, what?
Faba.
Yeah, Faba. Faba was the real of the year.
Yep.
he was the real MVP. And by MVP, I mean monster.
Yeah.
the monstrous guy.
Yeah.
But By that I mean, like, I guess the real culminating point was trying to save Necrozma from himself.
Yeah.
Which is different for a Pokemon game. Typically, the bad guys are like, "Mwah!" at the very end. But in this case, I mean, granted, you do fight Lucamine once.
Yeah.
And she goes off, but she gets defeated,
by the true villain of the game,
I feel like
Pokemon.
They treated it as if, I mean, they did bad things, but they weren't like the bad guy, as it were.
Yeah.
And even the Ultra Recon squad wasn't really the bad guy. They were just trying to do what they could. So
yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
I think, is there any other any other major stuff we wanted to talk about as far as new things?
I don't. Not really. I don't think the Ultra Beasts are that notable to bring up.
Blacephalon's mind blown move is really rude.
Yeah, it's notable to bring up the fact there are new Ultra Beasts, but we brought that up in the lead up to.
Yeah, and I think, I guess the only real surprise is that Poipole evolves, which I don't think either of us were really expecting.
I mean, I was like, that kind of looks small. Maybe it has different stats. Maybe it could evolve.
Fair.
I wasn't, I wouldn't have been surprised if it didn't evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also not that particularly surprised that it does evolve. I'm more surprised about what it evolves into.
I actually haven't evolved it yet, but I did look at it because I was curious, and it does look really rude.
It is.
Apparently, it's tearing up the metagame as we speak. So.
Oh, yeah. That high special attack.
Plus Poison Dragon? That's going to get you some extra bonus points.
That high speed. And especially if you're multi-battling, Sludge Wave.
Yep.
You just Sludge Wave and everything dies, and then you get your boosts, and then everyone else dies more.
Yeah, right. Whew. It's a pretty rude Pokemon. Yeah.
I guess rude Pokemon.
Say what?
It be a rude Pokemon. Get it? Because it's kind of a wasp thing.
Yep. I do. I get it. Okay, so now that we've talked about that, what should we move on to? Do we want to talk about any negatives, or do we want to talk about our teams and stuff?
I don't have any particular negatives that I haven't already brought up. Yeah, let's go over the team, our personal team compositions.
Sure.
Do you want to start, Alyssa, or should I?
I'll go. Why not?
Okay.
I'll do it. So my team this time around was Decidueye was my starter, and then I had Mudsdale, Duskform Lycanroc, Alolan Muck, Rabombi, and Araquanid. That was my team.
Mm-hmm.
Just for notes for the audience, typically when I play Pokemon games, especially the first time around, I like to try and play with Pokemon that are only introduced this generation, or in the generation that the game is in. I typically don't fiddle with Pokemon that are from past generations unless there's something really new that makes it worth it. Like, for example, Mega Evolution or Alolan forms. Like Alolan Microwatt, Alolan Muck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what I just said there. Alolan Muck, I feel like, is different enough from regular Muck that it deserves to be counted as new enough for me to try out.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll use Pokemon from different generations or from previous generations if I feel like I should, or especially if it's a Pokemon I haven't used. But basically, I like to use new Pokemon every time I run through a new Pokemon game, just because I like to do that. This time around, there were 3 Pokemon that I've used before, and that was Araquanid, Mudsdale, and I guess Lycanroc.
Technically, but you used the Dusk form.
Technically, I did. I used the Dusk. I used Midnight form instead of Dusk form. So that's like a sort of half, sort of already used.
Yeah.
But the real ones that were repeats were Mudsdale and Rabombi. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Araquanid.
Yeah.
All the other ones were new. I think the real standout for me, I guess there were two real standouts for me, sort of, was Mudsdale continues to be excellent, especially with playthroughs. I don't think it's really good as far as like overall metagame, but I think for this game in particular and for going through the game, I think it's wonderful, especially with its stamina ability, because you can just kind of throw it out there and just let it rack up hits, and then it delivers enough of a punch that it can knock over most Pokemon.
Yes.
Obviously, you don't put it in front of a special someone with special attack, because then it'll just die. But I thought Mudsdale really carried me through a lot of the game. And then I guess my other one that I was really happy with was Alolan Muck. I think my Muck wasn't as good because it doesn't have Poison Touch, but and I think Muck was one of those Pokemon that you kind of have to like nurture it before it gets good. I feel like it takes a while because it evolves at level 38 or something.
Yeah.
So you have a Grimer for a while. And then once you get him up to stuff and you give him the right moveset, Alolan Muck will do some good things for you. I think those are my two real standouts. I'll give an honorable mention to Rabombi. Rabombi was faster than I thought it would be. And then having a speedy special attacker was a really good option for my team.
Yes.
Especially since I feel like this generation is pretty physical heavy, so yeah, much better than Salazzle, who I had last game, as far as speedy special attackers go.
Yeah.
So that'll be what I'll say for now about my team.
Yeah.
What about you?
My team was Primarina with Popplio as my starter, though I definitely was very much considering just going with Decidueye again because that's so cool. I love it so much. Duskform Lycanroc, Beware, Mudsdale like Alyssa, Toucanon, and Venusaur. Because the day I started playing it was the day that Bulbasaur was available through the island scan. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I did it, I got it, and it ended up being stuck on my team. It's because...
I mean, Venusaur is a wonderful Pokemon. Perfect choice.
Yeah. I kind of wish I had a little bit more of an interesting team and play with some Pokemon that I didn't use because, Primarina is the starter. Lycanroc is just the Dusk form. I had the midday one from in my Sun playthrough. Beware was new for me. Mudsdale I used before. Toucanon was fun, was good, but not amazing.
Okay.
And then Venusaur was Gen 1. And I was happy with my team until we got to the Ultra Necrozma fight because every single one of them except Mudsdale couldn't. Well, every single one of them couldn't. Yeah, no, every single one of them besides Mudsdale was weak to one of Necrozma's moves.
Oh my god, that's great!
Every single one, and that sucked. For that battle, but I think I had a very balanced team composition. Again, if I did this playthrough differently, I would have definitely had my Decidueye on it. I would have had gladly had Araquanid on there, but I didn't because I already had Primarina and didn't want two water types. I wanted to do Vikavolt again, but I didn't like playing with Vikavolt in Sun because you couldn't evolve it until you got to Pony Islands. But apparently you can evolve them at that power plant when they're in their 20s, and I'm like, I would have loved to know that. I would have picked up Vikavolt and had a Vikavolt for the majority of my playthrough this time.
You sound a little salty there.
I am salty. I am so salty.
Yeah.
You were running around with a Charjabug until you beat Hapu's trial.
Yeah, that's fair.
In the first game, and then this time you can have it before you even get to the Ghost trial. Halfway through the game.
Yeah.
Which is a very reasonable place to have a Pokemon like Vikavolt.
Didn't you also have a Crabrawler in your first playthrough?
Oh yeah, and then I got Crabominable at the very, very end of the game as well, and I was like, this was not worth it.
Oh man,
I was
I'm sorry you had so much trouble.
I was more pleased with my team composition in that game with the more interesting variety of choices.
Right.
That, like, for the most part, that team just like kind of melded together in like a aesthetically some kind of way that my head was like, yeah, this is a very nice setup team. And like this was like, in terms of typing, this was a very well balanced team, but like in terms of like being like a solid group together in terms of appearance, and I don't, some weird thing in my head, just it's like, okay, this is all right. This is nice.
I know, I gotcha. I understand. You want a team that jives, and you got that jivey feeling.
Yeah.
I have to say, for me, if I were to make some changes to my team, I probably would have switched out Araquanid for Bruxish.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big weaknesses that I had was that I had 3 Pokemon that were weak to flying, which was not a good thing. Granted, I did have 2 Pokemon that I could use to take care of flying types. I had Dustform, Lycanroc, and I also had my Alolan Muck with Ice Punch. But I think it would have been easier for me to have gotten rid of one of either Rabombi, Decidueye, or Araquanid. I think Araquanid probably would have been the one to go, even though I love it. Mostly just because I used it in the other game. And I forgot that Bruxish was a thing until like in the first game, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I could have gotten one of those. Because like
true.
Bruxish is a water psychic, so it would have been psychic type probably would have been nice to have, especially in the post game, because there were a lot of Weezings in that area. And Weezing, it has Levitate. But and then it's also a physical attacker. I probably would have had a less defensive team had I made the switch. But I don't know what other Pokemon I would have substituted Araquanid for if I were to do it. But I don't know. I think that was a pretty bad weakness, and I think I probably should have done something different, or maybe even done like Slowbro or something.
Mm-hmm.
Slowbro might have been a better change, actually.
Yeah.
And like broken my rule to make my team better, which I probably should have, but I got through the game, so that's the thing I'm happy with. So that would be one of the bigger changes I would have made.
Yes.
So cool. Is there any? Do you want to talk now more about Gen 7 in general?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Very quickly, because we are kind of running.
We're getting there.
We're getting there, yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'll start this time since you started with the Pokemon.
Yep.
Overall, I think this was a very solid generation. In terms of changes they brought to the Pokemon series games with like the trials and all that stuff and the difficulty. Very excellent Pokemon designs and new Pokemon introduced into the metagame format. And a very solid amount of time exploring the Alola region, which is certainly a fault with the X and Y games because we never got a sequel to those, and we're just kind of like, oh, those are the only games we want to get to do? Oh, okay. Also, also especially with that just little bit of improvement with the graphics of making everyone like realistically proportional in the overworld.
That was a really good improvement, I think.
Yeah, like that was nice. Like the big head, smaller bodies was fine in XY, but they did that this one generation later. I'm like, yeah, I like this a lot more.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I think probably the reason why they did that was, well, A, because they were still filling out the 3D, but also because big head, smaller body has been the sprite choice for most of Pokemon history.
Yeah.
So I guess they were trying to keep the tradition in that sense. But I think that the proportioned models is a lot better.
Yes.
Especially since they had proportioned models in like cutscenes and
yes.
Like even in X and Y, like when a person would challenge you, their model would be proportioned. So
I mean, that was the case in all the games as well, too, but...
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually, that's fair. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree. I think, I thought it was... I said this before we started recording to SoundJack already, but I really think that Gen 7 was a step up from Gen 6. I liked X and Y a lot, but when I played it, but I feel like now I think it might be the weakest games of the Pokemon series.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly because, I don't know, I feel like they didn't leave as much of an impression on me as some of the other games I've played.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the Pokemon. You know, I think there's some solid ones that I love, like Aegislash, Greninja, Talonflame. You know, there's some good Pokemon that came out of that generation, but I think overall Gen 6 was I mean, I think Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire are the better games in that generation.
Yes.
by a long shot. But I feel like Gen 7 was Pokemon on the 3DS fully realized. I think that they really put all their effort into making these games like challenge the processing power of the 3DS.
Oh boy, did it challenge the processing power of the 3DS.
Yeah, they really did a lot to make it challenge it. And I also think I really liked the changes to the formula too. I think it's great to see the Pokemon team, you know, changing things up, making things different. Having trials instead of gyms, I thought was great. I know a lot of people complained about it, but I liked it. I thought it was a great change of pace. After playing the same kind of game for the past 20 years now, even more than that, it was nice to see a different take on it. And I also really enjoyed the fact that Alola, to me, felt like the first time we really got a Pokemon game in a long time that was really steeped in its culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would probably say that some of the other games might have felt like that. Like I think Golden, maybe some of the earlier Pokemon games had a bit more of that, a little bit. But I thought that Alola was really like wanted you to feel like you were in Hawaii, or at least a Hawaii analog. And you know, a lot of the Pokemon were based on Hawaiian stuff. The fact that they were, I don't know, it just felt like its own little world, and I really admire Pokemon this game for doing that. I felt like X and Y kind of was French, but like I saw flavors of France. I didn't see like that same kind of like world building as I did with Alola.
Yes.
And I'm really happy that they kind of followed through with their idea to like make this world, you know.
Yes.
So, I think that's my overview of the generation. I have like a real quick question though.
Yes.
Favorite Pokemon and least favorite Pokemon of this generation, do you think? You don't have to have a least favorite if you don't want to. Or even a favorite. You hated them all for some reason.
I mean, nothing will override my hate my hatred of Aromatisse. It's the only Pokemon that I actively despise.
Right.
If I had to pick least favorite, Crabominable.
That I understand.
It's just weird and not what I expected. And like I understand what they were going for, but still, favorite probably Decidueye. The Arachnid.
Why Decidueye? Just the
design, concept, looks, effectiveness, all the good stuff.
Cool.
Though I also did very much appreciate Tapu Koko. Oh, that was one thing I forgot to mention, the change at the end of the game that I didn't care for.
Oh, good.
Sorry. change at the end of the game I didn't care for was that instead of fighting Kukui, we fought Hao for our final battle.
Oh yeah, I didn't care for that either.
That didn't feel as impactful to me. Like, especially since we didn't have our own we weren't using our own battle music. We weren't using the battle music, the champion's battle music from Sun and Moon. We were using something else that utilized Hao's battle music too.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess they were trying to sort of pull a sort of red blue kind of thing where you fight your rival as the champion.
Screw that.
But I think what made red and blue work in that instance was that you hated your rival.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense to go and be like, hey, I'm gonna screw you and take your victory from you and all that stuff. You could just shove it in Blue's face. Yeah. You know, you got that behind it. So to me that made more sense. I think fighting Hao wasn't as like pumped, you know. Yeah. I was really when I fought Kukui, I was real pumped because I was like I had the feeling that I had a real challenge in front of me, and like it sort of comes as a surprise. You don't think he's going to be the final boss, but then he is. And I guess great.
They were still trying to make that a surprise at the end, but if you remember to wait, I'd never fought Hao before entering the Elite Four. Well, that's right. Then you might have figured it out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, and so I don't know. And I didn't even really find Hao that hard.
Yeah.
In comparison to Kukui and Sun and Moon, I thought Kukui was a little harder.
Yeah. I think his team was a bit better balanced.
Yeah. But, you know, I do, I don't know. I agree. I didn't really care for the Hao change.
Also, I loved in the original games how you had to fight Tapu Koko before you get to the final end credits.
Yeah, that was also really nice because then it sort of was like hey, let's show me how strong you've gotten kind of deal.
Yeah, that was so fun. And then you didn't, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'll just fight you later.
Yeah.
But I guess yeah. Hold on. I also wanted to say, what was was there a Pokemon that really surprised you as like you didn't expect it to be as good as it was?
Nothing that I personally played through with.
Okay.
But I remember hearing you talking about how much you liked Ribombee. And I'm like, I feel like it probably would have had a very similar experience with that.
Yeah, Ribombee doesn't look like it's going to do much.
Never mind. I am a liar. I'm a terrible liar. Araquanid. Araquanid.
Oh my god.
Because I was like, I'm taking this because this is a Pokemon that was like the only Pokemon that we didn't know of beforehand in some way, shape, or form or stage. It was like, what is this? This is actually a new Pokemon. Oh my goodness. And I had to have it on my team since it was a water spider, and I evolved it, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm keeping this, and like, oh my god, this is so good.
That was exactly how I felt when I got Araquanid. And by the way, Araquanid is my favorite Pokemon in this generation. Purely because, well, I really like spiders. That's one thing you'll learn about me. Mm-hmm. And this spider just, I don't know, I really like it. When I saw it for the first time in Brooklet Hill, I was like, oh, and then I caught the Dewpider, but I didn't like work with it at all. I don't remember. I think it was because I had Primarina. I had Primarina the first time I ran through Sun and Moon, so I was like, I don't need another water type. But even though I love it and it looks cute, but then I saw the final evolution in Mally Garden, and I was like, all right, never mind, canceling everything. We're putting it on. I don't care if I already have a water type. It's happening, and no regrets from that. I really like Araquanid. I think it has a lot of really cool. I like its ability. I think it has a lot of really. It has good punch. It takes hits. Probably not the best Pokemon in the generation. And I don't even think it's that high in the metagame, but I really like it. Mm-hmm. I think its design's wonderful too. I would also say Ribombee was also a surprise for me. You kind of look at it and you're like, I don't think you're gonna be good. But then I tried it out this time, and I was really surprised. I think that Rabambi has a lot of good things to offer. I can see it doing really well on a double team. Like I can see it doing well as a support Pokemon, and I can also see it doing well as a straight up attacker Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I think that versatility is really nice. If I were to pick least favorite, I don't know. I don't think there's any Pokemon that I was like really disappointed. Oh, I would probably say Salazzle was probably the Pokemon I was most disappointed with, if only because it doesn't utilize its awesome ability as much as it could have. And I think I understand why it's the way it is, because being able to poison anything is pretty, almost OP in some ways. And it could have easily been OP, but and so it makes sense that they gave it. I guess it kind of makes sense that they gave it to a Pokemon that's more of a glass cannon, because the kind of Pokemon who could use corrosion really effectively would have been a Pokemon like, I don't know, a Alolan for example, because he has more bulk, and you can just use him as more of a status kind of guy. Yeah. I think Salazzle's design is fine, really nice, and I like it in concept. I just feel like Salazzle is sort of like when I was using it, I was a little disappointed that its ability couldn't be as utilized as you would think.
Yes,
which is unfortunate. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have any Pokemon that I was like, you suck in this generation. So I'm glad that was the case.
Yeah. But I think the last thing to talk about is since we are... Oh, wait. One more in terms of Pokemon. What was a Pokemon that you liked but you wish was better competitively?
Mudsdale! God damn it, Mudsdale. Oh my god. So the thing about Mudsdale is that I feel like it's just so close, right? Like it has an amazing ability and stamina. It has really powerful moveset. Well, its moveset's a little weak, but it has great stats, right? So it's great stats, good ability, good typing. We're good. Problems with it is that A, it doesn't have any good reliable way of healing outside of rest, which is awful. And then B, its move pool is not that deep. Like it doesn't have a lot of different typing to use to its advantage. I mean, I think the typings that it really gets are steel, ground, and fighting, which I mean are fair types. Sometimes you don't need a lot of variety on your team on your Pokemon in order to succeed, but I don't know. I feel like it just wasn't there yet. If I don't know, if it had access to Bilk Drink or something, then I think Mudsdale would be an awesome Pokemon and would just be like up there. It probably would be my favorite, even over Araquanid. But as far as just usefulness goes, but it just didn't. It just missed the mark. And then I haven't really checked to see what sort of moves it learns, as far as to move tutor moves go. But I don't think I saw anything that was like totally changing my mind as far as its usefulness. So that would be my pick.
Yeah.
What about you?
Vikavolt. It just needed to be faster. This region was so slow.
Yeah, right.
Everything in this region was so slow, but Vikavolt was great concept, good special attacker, bug electric, levitate as an ability. It's just so frickin' slow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotta put a choice scarf on it, I guess.
Yep, and even then...
That'd probably be the only viable way I would see running it.
Even then, I can't remember if its base speed is 40 or 45, so it's still not that fast. Oh, that's
real slow.
Yeah, it's super slow. It's not like...
I thought you were saying slow, like, for the concept. Like, oh, maybe it's like, average speed, like 70 or something.
No.
That's a slow Pokemon.
Yes. It's so much slower than you'd expect.
Oh, man.
43. 43 is its base speed stat.
Yeah. Wow, that's... Yikes.
Precisely. But yeah, and before what I was actually trying to get to when I said before we wrap this up.
Okay.
We do know these are the last games on the 3DS, and that the next games are
Yes.
coming out on the Switch.
Mhm.
What are you looking forward to for the games on the Switch?
This might be selfish a little bit, but like having your Pokemon follow you around again, that would be awesome. I feel like the Switch has enough processing power to pull that off. Especially since it's essentially a home console, or has the processing power of a home console.
Yeah.
And I would really love to see them do, having your Pokemon follow you around again. I thought that was just such a great addition to her Gold, Soul, Silver, and I think it'd be really great. I mean, I know it's a lot to program. Like, I'm not gonna say it's easy.
They were already programmed into Sun and Moon.
Pokemon now. What?
They were already programmed into Sun and Moon.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, all the walk and run animations were already programmed in Sun and Moon, but most of them were never used.
Wow. Okay. Well, then never mind.
Every single Pokemon.
Wow. So they totally have in that case, I think they totally have the wherewithal to do it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know that even if they already had already programmed, I know it takes a lot to do that, especially since now they have over 800 Pokemon. Not over 100. They do have over 100. They've had over 100 ever since the beginning. Jeez.
Yeah.
They have over 800 Pokemon to program, but I would love to see that. I also would really like to see. This is probably not what's going to happen because they're probably going to have a new region. I'd love to see a Pokemon game that lets you sort of go to all the different regions.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really cool. Maybe even as the post game too. Like after you beat your region, you move on and you beat some of the other regions. Yeah. I think that'd be like really exciting.
Yeah.
Because then you could sort of, I don't know. I think it would make it feel like you're in this whole big world,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's what I would like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say an open world game, but not straight up open world, not like to the same extent of like Breath of the Wild is an open world game.
Okay, yeah.
But open world for a Pokemon game.
Okay.
You don't have to go on this particular path.
So open world in the way that like
you have
Link to the Past is like an open world game, sort of. You haven't played that game.
No,
so
no, I yeah. But
what?
Like there is going to be overall a certain progression,
right?
And probably a progression that is probably the most ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But you can choose, for example, if you go to this town first or that town first, or if you challenge this gym first or that gym first, and do the smart thing and allow people to go and to challenge gyms, whatever gym order they want, and that the challenges are varied based on how many badges you have.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. I would like that.
Because that has been my headcanon for years, and they made it canon with that very brief Pokemon Generations anime.
Yes.
It was the one with the... No, not Generations. It was I forget what it's called, but it was the one where we actually saw Red going through the Kanto region again. And then Brock brought up, like, how many badges do you have? And you're like, I have none. Okay, then I'll just use these two Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think that for like the lore of Pokemon, I think that makes the most amount of sense. Because obviously not everyone lives in Pallet Town, right?
Yes.
So geographically, some people are going to have to challenge, like, this gym, like another gym as their first one.
Yeah, if they live on Cinnabar Island, well, they're kind of screwed if they have to challenge a dude with 47 level 47 Pokemon first.
Right, exactly. So it makes sense that like the gym leaders would change the challenge level depending on how strong how many badges you have.
Yeah.
I would love to see that too.
Yeah. And also a little
maybe even have gym leaders who, instead of themed after types, themed after like a certain kind of set of Pokemon. Like maybe the theme for the gym is defensive Pokemon, or Pokemon that use like status moves or something. That would also be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just like a little bit more expansive because they've been kind of playing like they have been working on getting out of those squares for the past few generations. And we were like going crazy when we had the rollerblades and we could go everywhere in X and Y. And now we could just like walk in circles. Just expand that a little bit more and have a little bit more open paths.
Yeah.
Just in general, a larger region with more nooks and crannies to explore, more patches of grass. I'd say more wild Pokemon to encounter, but I mean, we're already pushing 400 in these games.
Yeah.
That's getting
I even that's the other thing I wanted to say that I didn't like. I'm sorry. We don't have a national dex in this game.
Yes.
Which really sucks.
Yes.
Why the hell don't we have a national dex? We have access to the Pokemon Bank. Like, come on. Why didn't they? Oh, like it's not. You can't even access it, and it's so bizarre to me because you can after you beat the Elite Four, or even before you defeat the Elite Four and Champion, you can catch Pokemon who aren't in the Alola Dex in this game.
Yep.
So, like, why didn't they program it? Like, I can understand for Sun and Moon because I don't think you could really catch Pokemon from the National Dex.
Oh, you could.
Oh, you could?
You always had the island scan.
Oh, okay. Well, outside of the island scan, I mean.
Well, I mean, the island scan is still, like, 28...
A catch method, I guess, yeah.
28 Pokemon that are catchable.
Right.
And not including their evolutionary line counterparts.
Right.
There's
yeah, basically, like, I don't really see why they didn't do it.
Precisely, yeah.
Like, I feel like they just should have done, like, they've done it in all the other generations. They've had a national dex.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
To me, it doesn't make any sense why. I mean, maybe they just didn't want to make new Pokemon and Pokedex entries?
Because, I mean, these ones were pretty creepy enough as is, so.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that's why, but that's like the only reason why I could think of that they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know we wanted to wrap up. I just had to say that.
No, yeah. Very valid. A very, very valid point.
So, give us a national dex next game, Game Freak, please.
Please. Yeah. But
is there anything else we wanted to say? I don't think there's anything else that I am like saying. I guess we can just do final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
From my end, I had a lot of fun with it. Definitely enjoyed the challenge. Although my heart goes out to anyone who, for some reason, decided to pick up this as their first game.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, those guys. I really liked it. Like I said, I think it definitely stole the show as far as, this whole generation rather than just Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon stole the show when it came to games on the 3DS for Pokemon. Although I still feel like I really like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I don't want to say those games were great. And I definitely would recommend getting it if you haven't already. Especially if you haven't gotten any Gen 7 games yet. I would definitely recommend getting Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, if only for all of the extra content. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just good stuff.
Yeah,
it's
very
Pokemon.
Good.
You know.
Yes. These were very good games. They were very strong games, in my opinion, and definitely some of my favorite games. I still not positive which are my absolute favorites.
As far as Pokemon games?
Yeah, but these definitely are very, very close to the top.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see that Game Freak's still doing really cool things with Pokemon. So.
Oh yes, absolutely. But I think that's all we have to say on these topics.
Yep.
Alyssa, where can people find you if they want to find you?
So I have my Tumblr at The Rational Dove. I'm working on getting my Rational Dove Twitter handle back. I forgot the password, and I tried to have Twitter send me an email, but I don't think it went through. So at some point, I'll have Twitter for you to follow if you want to follow me. But for now, my Tumblr is the only one that I really have. So sorry, Twitter people, I guess. At some point, it'll happen.
Yeah, you need to get on your Twitter. You got to get that Twitter rolling.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's all we have to say on Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on my Twitter and at Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack and Alyssa signing off.